Hello, 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 everybody. It is Matt and it is Maniac Monday, and I am back at you with yet another review. Before I roll on to any of that, I want to wish each and every one of you a great morning, evening, dawn, day, or dusk, all that lovely stuff, because life really is too short as is. Do me a really huge favor and like, share, and subscribe. I love seeing your beautiful faces when you are here. I know I'm here an awful lot, but I have an awful lot on my plate to review. And one last little tidbit of information. Check out the description box. I give you a bigger bite of every single movie of every single day, such as I got you a brief synopsis, your director, runtime of the cut I am watching, along with a link for a trailer, and then a link for if you decide you can check out the movie for yourself. It is none other than the movie directed by Christopher J. Lara. It is The Spider Gang. What an interesting movie. It is played off like a documentary. It runs at 35 minutes long. It is not rated, of course, and I would say it's a very interesting little film. It plays out like a documentary, like I said. It's based in Africa. There's a group of it's set in the 90s, and there's all of a sudden a people are starting to disappear and die in horrible ways. They suspect that there is a gang called the Spider Gang that are doing all the crimes, but there is also this story of giant spiders that are going around, and they have basically taken over this whole section of jungle in Africa, and basically taking it over. And now everybody that goes in there, it's a complete death trap for them. So it's quite an interesting little story. Eventually, the government and giant conglomerates get involved and try to sweep everything under the rug as much as possible. It goes to the point to where they eventually arrest members. I believe it's 10 members of this spider gang, and they force one of them to basically lie and say that what they were doing is these horrible crimes, and basically set yourself up for disaster, in other words, because you're not only framing people that probably more than likely have never done a single thing evil like that in their life, but you're also leading false news out there that there's nothing to be afraid of in that section of the jungle. We've caught what it is. It's a group of people. It's not giant spiders. It definitely creates even more backlash on that end as well, because you feel like these people would go out into the woods. I almost said woods, but into the jungle freely and do whatever it is they need to do, and they stumble across to these giant arachnids. Now, it is quite interesting how it's played out. There's a lot of over talk, or narration. Excuse me. A lot of narration to it. There's never any like physical. You see somebody on screen talking to you like you are now with me. It is all done through there. It's like a single picture, and then kind of like a documentary. They show a frame of a picture, and then they have somebody narrate over it. It's done quite well. It's done so well that my lovely mother-in-law thought it was a true story. So I got a nice little chuckle out of that. So Chris, good job on that. You fooled one person that I know of right away that thought that this was a real story. If it is a real story, it's crazy. But either way, I think you did a great job. If you definitely fooled somebody that didn't know, that was just on the outside looking in type thing. It really made me happy on that end, because that means Chris did a good job in my opinion. Now, as far as anything else goes with the story, there's a really sad story about a little girl who gets kidnapped and killed. It just goes on and on and on about sad stories about these people that are basically dying by these spiders, and they're blaming it on this roving street gang that may or may not exist. One of those kind of things. So it's quite interesting. Now on to my three things that I love my movies to meet. First is the audio. The audio is very clean in this. It's since it's all done through narration wise, you have a lot of room to clean up that audio and make it sound really nice. So they did a very good job on that aspect. So I'm going to give them an A+ there. Now, secondly, is dialogue. The dialogue's quite interesting. Granted, everything's done through like I said, narration and third person story, I think is what they would call that. Or first person, I don't fucking know. But either way, it's told through different variations throughout various people, so it works very well on that end. They talk like how I imagine they would talk. I remember the 90s, and we did talk kind of like that, but I'm not from Africa, so I couldn't 100% verify, like, hey, this is how people rolled back in the 90s. I've never been to Africa, don't plan on going there. It's too much for me. I'm a little fish in a big pond kind of person, so I'll stick to the little pond where I belong. So I'm going to give it another A on dialogue. Third thing is the editing. The editing is done rather well. I think they did a good job keeping the pacing steady and going forward in a nice momentum that doesn't lose your interest. I never got bored once throughout this. Granted, yeah, it's only 35 minutes long, but it does a great job keeping your attention in that 35 minutes. So I'm going to give it the pacing is really good, in my opinion. It picks up and builds on a really grand scale, and I really like that. I think that this is one of the better films I have reviewed here in this year so far, or this fall, I should say. This fall so far. It's definitely one of the best ones I've reviewed out of newer films. I'm really liking this. I would put it on my top 5 for 2024. I would probably put Warrensdale above it, only because I'm kind of biased on that one. I really like that film, and being that I'm in it makes me like it even more. So I'm not very good on judging that one. But the editing on this one, what did I say, an A? Yeah, an A. I think it's worth that. But now when you boil it down to its final score of 1 through 5, though, I think it's probably a 4 out of 5 kind of film. I think I would have liked it if it was just a little bit longer. I wanted more about the street gang part of the whole story. I wanted some more with them. Other than that, I think they cover it very, very well and do a very good job, especially with the side of the arachnids, how they're they're snatching these people out of their souls practically. You know, they're very very scary type. They're very scary how they're described. Because you don't see an actual spider. You see pictures of spiders, and they're obviously been computer enhanced to look larger. But it's still, as somebody who doesn't like spiders, it scares me. Yes, this is a movie that actually would frighten me because I would never one get caught in the jungle, and number two, where if there is giant arachnids known to be in the area, I sure as hell am not going to be there. All right, guys, I love your faces. I'm gonna get the hell out of here. I got another review coming up on Wednesday. I'm sorry I didn't get one out for you over the weekend. I just got too busy and just schedule got away from me. So I'm a little back. I'm a little behind schedule on what I want to do. But look for hopefully 4 reviews this week. And then maybe I'll do another 4 next week just so I can get kind of caught up because I hate being behind schedule. It just drives me bonkers. All right, guys, love your faces, and as always,
Peace.